Hello, everyone. Good afternoon, good evening, wherever it is you are joining us from. Um, while we're waiting for that people to join us, kindly introduce yourself in the chat box. Just tell us your name and where you're joining us from. Meanwhile, my name is Adebola, and I'm joining you from Lagos, Nigeria. Hello, Chiemere from Nigeria. Hello, hello, hello. Thank you for joining us today. Yes, please, go ahead and use the chat box. Tell us your name and where you're joining us from. Ifeoluwa, hi. Where are you joining us from? Hi, Kene. Kene is also joining us from Lagos. Hello. Kauthar is joining us from Morocco. Hello. Jude says he's joining us from Ghana. Hello, Jude. Ifeoluwa says she's joining from Ibadan, Nigeria. Hello, hello. How are you all doing? Good afternoon. Muniri is joining us from South Africa. I'm sorry if I mispronounced your name, but please did I pronounce it well? Sonia is also joining us from Abuja. Hello, Sonia. Sonia, I'm also happy to have you here. Thank you so much for joining us today. We're just going to wait for a couple of other people to join us, and we are going to kickstart today's session. Yeah, I pronounced it well. That's lovely. That's lovely. Thank you so much. Mm. Oh, this is 4 p.m. on dots. We're going to give 5 extra minutes, and once it is 5 minutes past 4, we're going to kickstart today's session. But while we wait for the people to join us, please kindly use the chat box and tell me one or two things you are expecting to gain from this session. If you are just joining us, kindly use the chat box to tell us your name and where you are joining us from. And also, I mentioned earlier that while we are waiting for other people to join us, um, just in the chat box, tell us why you registered for this masterclass and one or two things you expect to get or gain from today's session. Why is nobody saying anything in the chat box? Am I safe? Or if you just want to come here and come and you don't have expectations for today's session? Hmm. Wale, hello. Um, Kenechukwu says, I expect to gain more insight on monitoring and observability. Great, great, great. And trust me, our facilitator for today is going to do justice to that. Trust me. We have one of the best here. Hello, Deborah. Why is it only Kenechukwu that has told me what she expects to gain here? Adeline, hello. Mm. Wale says, same here, looking forward to learning valuable skills. Lovely, lovely, lovely. And like I said earlier, our facilitator for today is going to do justice to that. Is, if not the best, one of the best in the industry. And he will be joining us shortly. Once he joins, we're going to kickstart today's session. Deborah says she's looking forward to learn the best. Dabarechi, I'm sorry if I mispronounced your name. She said she registered for the class to get ideas on how observability and ICA works. That's lovely. That's great. And our facilitator for today has all of that ready to share with us. Hmm. Muniri says, I'm looking forward to learning everything about DevOps, some of the strategies and tools used to automate CI/CD process. Lovely, lovely. It's like, is this CI/CD everybody's coming to do? Okay, oh, I trust our facilitator to do justice to that when he joins us. Um, that's great. Steven says to understand observability in depth. Don't worry, our facilitator for today is going to pick it right from the root so that everybody would get whatever it is you're looking forward to. He's trying to join us. As soon as he joins, we are going to kickstart today's session. Once again, thank you for joining us today. My name is Adebola Adeleke. I'm your host, and I'm joining you from Lagos, Nigeria. This is the Tech4Dev. We usually call it Women Textiles Masterclass, but we realized that we have men that always want to join us, and we thought, well, we can share this our lovely community with them, at least share the knowledge with them as well. And so moving forward, it's not going to just be Women Textiles Masterclass alone. It's going to be Tech4Dev Masterclass. We'll have both male and female participants, as they say that we should share our knowledge with them. And we are doing just that. See that we are very nice people here. They're very nice. The ladies here are very, very nice that we are sharing with them. You say thank you. Yes, you're welcome. You're welcome. And so this masterclass is what we would have every 2 months of the year. Wale, you're welcome. You are welcome. We are not stingy. We are very, see, right? That we're we are over nice. Over nice is doing us because we thought it's supposed to be a women textiles. It's supposed to be just the ladies, just the girlies having conversations and just, our community. But these men, they keep coming. They say they want to learn. We should give them chance. So they're giving them, and we welcome into our community. We hope you're able to, take one or two from us. Right, right. So this is our final masterclass for the year. As the year is coming to an end already, we're supposed to have one in December. We're not very sure we'll be having that because the holidays will be around. So this is basically a final masterclass for the year and would continue. Abubakar, you're not the only guy here. See Wale. Wale is already saying thank you. He's already thanking us for allowing him in our community. Jude is also thanking us. You're not the only guy here, don't worry. There are lots of you here that want to share our community. Give me a minute. I'm trying to reach out to the facilitator. Ole is already welcoming his fellow guy. Lovely, lovely stuff. So while we are still waiting for our facilitator to join us, I'm just going to share. I'm just going to talk about what we do at Tech4Dev and Women Textiles in generally. So what we do at Women Textiles and Tech4Dev is basically to bridge the gender gap in the female and male gender in STEM. So, sorry. Okay, yeah. Excuse me, sorry for that. To spawn girls' interest and also to help them understand that they also have an opportunity in STEM. And we do this through our various programs. See them in our community, see them using our chat box to hook up. Okay, lovely. It's of women basically, but then we could also have a community of men join us once in a while, like we are doing today. Yeah, so we'll do this through various programs like our advocacy, which we'll usually do. That comes up any time of the year. Basically, we do it on and on. We would go to communities, underserved communities, would reach out to girls between the ages, starting from the ages of 9, girls, young girls, teenagers, even adults, and also let them know that they have an opportunity in STEM. Let them know they have opportunity in STEM. Let them know of the speak to them about women that are doing great things in tech. We usually go with these women. We have a large community of women doing great stuff in tech. And after speaking to them, would funnel them into our boot camp, Women Textiles Boot Camp. We normally have so the Women Textiles Boot Camp is a 3 weeks boot camp, basically just for you to have an idea what is this tech part talking about. What is it exactly? What are they doing there? And we usually have 5 learning tracks: product management, product design, data analysis, cybersecurity, and software development. And we have a new cohort that started on Monday. The course application started on Monday. And in this new cohort, we have a new learning track: technical project management. Technical project management. Sorry about that. I'm trying to reach out to the facilitator. So yeah, I mentioned that we have technical project management, and that's our new learning track. So if you want to join our bootcamp, or you have someone that would like to join our bootcamp, they can check us on Instagram at Tech4Dev, and the link to join the register for the bootcamp is in the link in our bio, right? Just go there and you would have the link to register. The registration closes on the 28th of this month. So please go ahead and register, and also share. This one is not for the men in our community. The men, you can only share to the women in your community. This is only for the women here. So go ahead, share with your family members, share with your community members, share people in your church, in your mosque, girls that are willing to learn tech. And for DevOps, we don't do DevOps in women tech stars. For DevOps, we have something we also call Developers Foundry in Tech4Dev. Currently, we are on cohort 2 and the classes have started, but continue to look out for call for application for cohort 3 on our social media page. And then you can probably apply for the next cohort, but they're currently on cohort 2. They're currently on cohort 2, yes. Then after the boot camp, we would have the fellowship. Our fellowship is a 1-year intensive program, right? So we believe that after the boot camp, you probably now know you just have an idea. You probably want to do software development. And you're like, oh, you're right. I want to do something, but there is little to what you can learn in 3 weeks. So we would have the 1 year program where you will learn software development intensively. In fact, this one, we now split the software development if you want back end or front end. And we also have other learning tracks. There are 8 learning tracks for the fellowship. The fellowship is currently ongoing. We have over 1,500 ladies that are currently in our fellowship now. And that's just part of what we do to bridge the gender gap in STEM. So our facilitator for today is already on the call. Our facilitator for today is already on the call, and because of time, I think we are going to get right into it. But before to us today, his name is Adedamola Jibola, and is a DevOps and site reliability engineer who builds automated systems and scales cloud-native infrastructure. He's passionate about using technology to create efficient, reliable systems. Hello, Ajibola, and thank you for joining us today.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for the introduction. Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
It's me to share my screen. Can you see me clearly?
I'm not yet. Yes, we can see you now.
Yeah, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Adedamola Ajibola, and I'm a DevOps and SRE engineer. I currently have like 4 years experience, and something I like to do for fun is to listen to music, play video games. I'm currently learning how to swim, and hopefully in the nearest future, I learn how to play golf. Yeah, and I'm sorry I joined in late. Permit me to share my screen. I would have loved to listen to everybody and then get to know everybody, but I guess we are too much for that.
We can use
Yeah.
the chat box for that. Just probably drop their name and what they do in the chat box.
Oh yes. We can use the chat for that also. Thank you. Thank you, ma'am. I'm about to share my screen.
Okay.
If you have any questions, you can just drop it on the chat box because I won't be seeing my screen from now. So today's topic is monitoring. I can see someone ask what is DevOps on the chat. So I can just give a brief overview of what DevOps is. So DevOps is a set of practice whereby it's a cultural philosophy and tools that bridge gap between software development and IT operations. We call it Dev and Ops. The goal is just to shorten the software development life cycle with delivery of high quality features, fixes, and updates to the end users in a fast and reliable and automated way. So, for example, we all know money points, right? So, this is just an example. Money points sit down with their developers and they think about a new feature they want to add to their application. Maybe they want to add a a bill payment to their app whereby you can just go into the app and click on bills and pick any utility bills you want to pay, and then voila, you make those payments. So what they do is just to reach out to their software engineers and they write their code, and the thing after they are done writing their code, what the DevOps do is to create like a CI/CD pipeline whereby even if he's in London or is in the mosque or is in the church praying, all what the developer needs to do is just write his code and push his code. Then there's a pipeline already. There's an automation that is going to get it delivered to the customer in due time. after they are done testing in like a developmental phase and testing phase, it has passed all the old requirement for it to be pushed to the public. So that's just what DevOps is basically. And the core principle of DevOps is collaboration, communication, automation, just like I said, because DevOps is majorly key on automation. The DevOps don't like repetitive tasks whereby jobs are being done manually. No, that's not DevOps. DevOps is where a developer or a data engineer can be anywhere around the world or any state, and they do what they have to do. And there's a pipeline or there's an automation being set up already that once you push your code or once you press go, it's gone and it's right to the public. So that's just basically what DevOps is in a nutshell. But for today, we'll speak more on DevOps tomorrow, where we talk about CI/CD infrastructure as code, because that's just the main call of DevOps. But for today, we'll be talking about monitoring. When monitoring is us monitoring an application, so I'll still go with a perfect example of money point application or interswitch quick teller, whereby the application. I don't know if any one of you have experienced an application that has been shut down. Let me use a popular application, UBA. I guess UBA is always shut down every now and then, and I'm sure everybody knows when an application is being shut down, when you won't be able to have access to those applications. So that's where monitoring comes in. Monitoring gives us the visibility for us to be able to know what's wrong with an application, or for us to be able to foresee what's going to happen to an application, and then we get that fixed even before the end user or the customers going around social medias or calling customer service that an application is not functioning well. So that's just the basic meaning of monitoring. So today's goal is to help us understand monitoring, logging, and observability. So monitoring, there will be an hands-on. I'm just trying to brush you guys' knowledge on what monitoring is. So I would spin up an application and also implement monitoring, and then take you guys on the journey of how it's being done from the barest minimum to the advanced stage. So monitoring is basically collecting and analyzing metrics while logging, because there are just three pillars of monitoring of observability, which is monitoring, logging, and tracing. Excuse me. Yeah, sorry. Trying to spin up. Yeah, sorry for that short transaction. Yeah. So my mission today is just very simple. Is to help you understand and apply monitoring and logging and observability in a real world system. And by the end of this section, you all will be able to understand why observability matters, and learn the three pillars of observability, and also see the difference between observability and monitoring. For today, I'll be using a Spring Boot application that I have on my system. So I have this application on my system. This application consists of a front end, a back end, and a database. So a database is where all information about your application is being stored, and the back end is where everything that goes on the server is being configured into. That's where a backend engineer, because in this line of software development, we have different aspects and different teams. We have the front end engineer, we have the UI UX, we have the DevOps engineer, we have the data engineer, we have the database engineer. So the components that makes up an application depends on the architectural diagram that is being set up. But for this application that we are going to set up today and look at, is just a basic and simple front end and back end application that consists of a front end which consists of React Native, and the back end consists of a Java, and the database is a simple MySQL database. I can't share the whole screen at once, so I'll be shuffling between my code and this PDF file. Yes. So I said earlier there are three pillars of observability. So why observability matters? There are common DevOps frustrations that include something like in your code. So for example, these are codes. These are lines of codes. This package, como, console, payroll are all lines of codes. So, for example, a junior developer just goes into your code and breaks something. You will want to know what or why, or you want to look at the root cause analysis to check what went wrong, and what are the hidden causes of what happened. And the truth is, I won't lie to anybody here, you can't fix what you don't see. That's where monitoring comes in. Because if you have like a monitoring setup and you have like a visibility to your application, you'll be able to detect what actually goes wrong, who tampered with anything. You'll be able to detect your issues early, investigate the root cause, and remediate with confidence. And for example, you have a new feature in an application and you want to roll it out to the public, and all of a sudden your app becomes slow. Let me use Access Bank as an example, because I know Access Bank during the weekend their applications don't work, or it's slow to process your transactions during the weekend is very slow. So when you set up monitoring will be able to give you visibility into why those applications are slow, why you'll be able to check your logs and see the reason why customers are calling and complaining that their bottlenecks, requests are being very, very slow. So yeah, let's dive into it. So I've been talking since it's time for us to see and have a visibility of what I've been saying. Sure. Sorry, I think my system is hanging. While I'm trying to speed up my system. So this is an IDE. We call it Virtual Studio Code, whereby you are able to work with your codes. You can see what you are coding. You have visibility into what you need to do instead of you going into a remote repository where you push your code into. So in an organization, there is what we call repository, whereby all applications are being pushed into, all codes or application are being pushed into. So this is GitHub. GitHub is one of the remote repository that we have. We have GitHub, we have GitLab, we have we have Bitbucket, and we have a lot. But today I'll be making use of GitHub, because GitHub is like a remote repository where you push all your lines of codes for an application. So this application here is what I have on my VS Code here. This is an IDE. Yeah. So I have set it up already, because I don't want to come into the class and into this section and start coding, because it's going to take a very long time. It might take us hours, and I don't want to waste anybody's time. But I would take my time to explain each line of code to everyone to the barest minimum. So yeah, let's dive into it. In this code, and in this code here, I have various services. I have Prometheus, I have Grafana, I have Loki, I have Tempo, and I have MySQL. So I will explain what each does, and by the end of the section, I will share the documentation, their official documentation, to their websites, where you all can go there and read their documentation. Because for me, my first part of learning is to go to a service or a tool, go to their website and read up on their documentation. And because documentation is the first line of where you learn more, not you going on YouTube and get to watch a lot of videos that won't give you like a deep insight into what you really want to achieve or what you really want to learn. So I advise everybody here to make an habit of reading the documentation, because documentation is well deep rooted. You can read and learn anything from it. If you have issues, you can also read your documentation, and it can point you out to your problems that you're currently facing before going to Google, because Google is everybody's friend. So I have Prometheus, and what is Prometheus? Prometheus is like a time-based series database and monitoring system that collects and stores and also queries metadata. Why I also have Node exporter on this line of code. Yeah, Node exporter is basically a system metrics collector that gathers host level performance data like CPU, memory, and then disk usage. And I have Loki. Loki is like a log aggregator, whereby if Adedamola, for instance, I'm using my name, logging into moneypoint.com. Immediately I log in, it's going to show in my logs that a user called Adedamola Ajibola logs in into this application. He wants to transfer money. It's going to literally show all the old transaction or all activities I'm running in an application. That is what low key is for. Is for us to be able to visualize our logs. If there are issues, we go to the logs, and logs is like the first point of contact when you have issues with your application. You go to your log and you see what's wrong in the logs, so that you'll be able to tackle it and know where next to go. Either you are reaching out to the developers or you are reaching out to your database engineers if you cannot get to fix it. We have Promptail. Promptail and Loki works hand in hand. Promptail helps in shipping. It's like a shipping agent that collects logs from each services or each files and containers, and forward them to Loki for storage, so we can be able to view them. And we also have Tempo in this Docker Compose file. Tempo is like a distributing tracing backend that stores and query traces data to track requests and across multiple services, because on these lines of code that we have here, we have different services. We have Promptail, we have Loki, we have Tempo, we have OpenTelemetry, we have Grafana, and we have our front end and back end applications also. What is OpenTelemetry? OpenTelemetry is like a standard observability framework that provides APIs and tools tools that helps in collecting traces, metrics, logs from an application. Why we have Grafana, what Grafana does is just to visualize, is a visualization platform that creates dashboards and alerting by connecting the old data that have been collected from Prometheus, Loki, and Tempo for us to be able to visualize and see them. So before we run this line of code, I want to take my time to explain the tools that we are going to use. I'll be making use of Docker and Docker Compose. So what is Docker? I don't know if anybody here have heard of Docker before. If you have heard of Docker, you can unmute and just say, okay, yes, I've heard about Docker before. Am I audible?
Yes, you have. We have a couple of people from the chat boxes. They've heard of it before.
Okay, nice. Sorry, because I can't see my screen. That's good. Thank you, ma'am. That's nice. So, what is Docker? Docker is like a platform where you build, ship, and run your applications inside a container. And what is a container? A container is basically a lightweight, portable, isolated environment that contains everything your apps need. Just like as we have our front end and our back end and our database here, and you can bundle each lines of code, each aspect of your application, your back end, your front end, into a container, and all it needs is just your code, libraries, and runtime. What do you use Docker for? We basically we basically use Docker just to make your application lightweight, because instead of us going to the old ways whereby we deploy our application on a Linux server, and a Linux server is kind of heavy, where you have like an application that runs once a developer ship his code to a remote repository like GitHub, and you want to run that, you want to deploy that application. That application might be maybe 50 gig, which is kind of heavy. With Docker, you can compress it to be like 155 or 105 MB. So that's how lightweight and easy and portable a Docker container can be. So with Docker, you can build images, you run containers, you manage your containers, you start, you stop those containers, you remove, you restart it, you disable it, and I'll be giving you a glimpse of what a Docker looks like, a Docker and a Docker file. So before you containerize your application, you need a Docker file. For example, this is my front end application, and this is what the Docker file looks like. And what this does is for you to this is how it looks like basically. If you want to set up a Docker file, and you want to containerize your application, you need to write this line of code whereby you pick an image. So you come here. If your application is a React native, all you need to do is just to come to Google and write Docker images, go to Docker Hub, and you search for your image. I can Let me search for image. You come here and you search for image. For example, I'm making use for my front end application. I'm making use of Node.js. I'll just come here and look for Node.js. Node. Yeah. So this is the official image of a or Docker official image for Node.js. This is an official image of Node.js, and all I have to do is just to come here and pick any of these images. So the most lightweight images that we have is it's called affine. So all I have to do is just pick any of the images that associate with what I want to achieve. So these are the list of images that we have for your use cases, for your use case. So this is where I came to pick my image for my application, for my front end application. As you can see, I picked the node image, and all I had to do was just to write my line of code. And basically, it's just for me to Dockerize my application, because for you to be able to Dockerize your application, you need a Docker file. And the main reason why I named my Docker file Dockerfile.frontend, because on this repo, I have my front end application, I have my back end application composed into one. In various organizations, if where you work, you will have a separate repo for each application. You will have a repo called React Native repo for front end, or front end repo. You don't need to put your Docker file as Dockerfile.frontend, because it's just that front end application you have in it. So you can just name it Dockerfile. Why another repo, you have your backend applications where your backend codes are being stored in it. You don't need to name it Dockerfile.backend. You can just name it Dockerfile. But because of the use case of what we are doing, and we have both front end and backend application in one place. So I have to differentiate so that there won't be mistakes and there won't be mixes. So I have to differentiate it by naming it Docker front end and Docker backend. So these are my lines of code. I will push this code to a repository and make it available for the public. You can go ahead and look into it and learn, because if I'm to this line of code is just the same way I am going to run my application locally on my system, the same process, but I'm just writing it into a Docker file for it to make sense and for it to run. This is same thing I have on my backend application also. So this is for my backend. I'm using a different image called Maven because it's a Java application. So different different programming language with different images. You can't use a Node.js for a Java application. No, you have to pick appropriate images for appropriate programming language. For maybe for Python, you make use of a different images. You can make use of an iPine or Ubuntu, or anyone you want to make use of. You can make use of that. For Go, you make use of different images. But for this use case, we are making use of Maven for an OpenJDK for Java. Yeah. So we have Docker Compose. What is Docker Compose? Docker Compose is a tool that help you run and manage your multi-container Docker application using a single YAML file, which is called dockercompose.yml. So instead of you starting your container one by one, you define all your services, your network, your volume in one place. So Docker Compose is perfect for applications with multiple service use case, whereby you have your front end, your back end, your database, everything you need to have, you consolidate it into one file. So this is that is why I'm making use of Docker Compose, because if you see from the beginning, I have my SQL. So my SQL is like a database for my application, and I have backend. So this is the backend application. This is what we have here, backend application. This is my backend resources. This SRC, MVN, prompt.xml. That's for Spring Boot application, Java. If you're familiar with Java, so I have written my compose file for my backend. So this is everything I need for my backend, and it depends on database for it to work. And this part is also logging my application for me to be able to see whatever that is happening on my application. Basically, I have my front end services also for my React Native application. And if you can see from these lines of code, you can see me referencing my Docker file from here. So for these services to build, you need to reference this Docker file here and also log it for us to be able to for visibility, for us to be able to view logs and see whatever that is happening in each services. I have Prometheus for metric. So these are for my monitoring observability tools to be able to have like a deep to be able to have visibility into the back end, front end, and database applications that we are going to run with these services. So I've explained what Prometheus is earlier on. This is Grafana services also. These are the lines of code that you need for them. We have Grafana. Grafana is like the main visibility whereby you go in there and you have like a dashboard to be able to make use of the tools like Prometheus, Loki, Node Exporter to have visibility. Basically, it gives visibility into your applications. Once we spin it up, you'll be able to understand what I mean by visibility by Grafana. We have Node Exporter as a service also. I have Loki for logs, and I have Promptio. This is like the agent that ships logs to Loki. They work hand in hand. They're like Grafana observability tool. We have I'm making use of this Grafana observability tool because if you look at Grafana's documentation, they've made it easy. There are different tools that you can use for monitoring, but I chose Grafana because Grafana consolidates almost everything into one. Grafana. No, not yet. Not yet. So if you come here, that's why I said it's important to go to documentations to read. So Grafana have like an observability stack that has everything integrated in it. They have for metric, logs, and traces. So that's why I am making use of Grafana itself because it makes my life easy and it makes everything easy for me. There are different types. Instead of you using Grafana, you can use ELK, Elasticsearch. You can use Elasticsearch also. Elasticsearch is also a monitoring application that helps for visibility also. It comprises of Kibana Logstash, whereby you can ship your logs, you can view your applications. It has uptime also. For this class or for this section, I'll be making use of Grafana because Grafana and Elasticsearch are one of the most popular monitoring tools that we have. Yeah. So let's dive into it. Compose down. So I kind of ran the applications earlier on. So I want to start from the basic ground up so we can see how it runs from beginning to the end. Yeah. So the command to use for to run a Docker Compose where you have various services in it is there are different commands. You can also check the Docker official website for various commands to use to run your Docker container, to run your Docker Compose file. But for today, I'll be making use of just these two command, which is Docker Compose down to shut down audio applications, audio containers that we've spinned up, and then Docker Compose up to start audio services that we have in our Docker Compose file. So it's just a simple command because you have written your lines of code, you've written your applications, you've what's the name? Written your lines of code into your Docker Compose file. Your services have been put into your Docker Compose file, so you just need a simple line of code, which is Docker Compose. Or this dash D is just to detach, because if you run it like Docker Compose Hub, it's going to run your application and you see how it's been. Let me just do it that way. I'll use another terminal, Docker Compose Hub. So this is showing you step by step of how each services are being run. If you have any questions, you can also drop it on the chat and we tackle it while we are running this.
So there is a question in the chat box. Someone says, I don't understand. Where is ound? I'm not sure I get this question though. Where is ound Venture start from?
Where is what?
Ound. I think the person has deleted it, probably resend again.
Okay, because that question is
Um,
not clear.
yes, there is another question that says, I understand that node exporter extracts metrics to send to Prometheus. What extracts the log and traces?
So what attracts the logs and traces are prompt tail and low key, and traces is we make use of open telemetry. So open telemetry is being injected into my Docker Compose for traces, and is being shipped to Tempo. Tempo is one of the observability stack for Grafana. So what Tempo does is a distributed tracing backend that stores and query traces data to track requests across multiple services. And Loki itself, Loki and Promptail are five and six. They are brothers and sisters. Without Promptail, there is no Loki. Without Loki, there is no Promptail. So what Loki does is a log aggregation system that stores and index your log data from applications and maybe your infrastructure components. And Promptail, the only thing Promptail does is to ship your application. It's like a log shipping agent that collects logs from various containers. So it's going to collect logs from the backend, Tempo, Prometheus, Grafana, and the rest, and then forward it to Loki for storage. And from inside Grafana, we'll be able to see those logs. So in due time, you'll be able to understand what low key and prompted does. And sorry, I didn't show you the lines of code. Yes, yeah. So these are like the code. If you don't want to manually do your do the setup, you can just write a few lines of code and reference it in your Docker file for it to work. I think it's up. Let me come here and clear
Okay, we still
Docker.
have a follow-up question to that question. The person says, where are the logs and traces visualized?
In Grafana. So the main job for Grafana is visualization. So I think they are up now. So yes, we can now make sense to everything. Host 19. So this is for Prometheus. I'm coming for Node exporter. It's local host 1991. It's 1991. Am I getting that?
Okay, we
Okay.
have another question. Someone says, Aritas, this is for DevOps role. I'm not sure you joined us from the beginning. This conversation is for DevOps professionals. I guess that's why you are lost. So there's another question. Someone says, please, I don't understand. Can you please explain more on the project you are doing? I get the monitoring part.
So the project we are doing is for us to monitor, we need an application, and in this line of code that we have here, we have a front end and we have a back end. So, for example, let me use a simple application. For example, WhatsApp. Yes, let me use WhatsApp as an example. WhatsApp, for you to be able to click on your WhatsApp and be able to chat, that's like the front end, the UI, UX, and the designs and everything that brings it to life. So there's no, let me just go this route. Let me go this route. Let me do something like this. Let me do something like uh, so this is a website, right? This is a website. This is in software terms we call it front end. So everybody knows that for you to be able to access a website, it consists of a front end and a back end. The back end, nobody sees the back end because the consumer, the end users, don't have anything to do with the back end. The only thing they want to see is just the front end where they can communicate with it. It's user friendly. You can go all around and find your way around your front end. So this is what we call front end basically, but it consists of UI, UX, designs, and front end code where you have HTML, CSS, JavaScript, and the rest. So that's what we have. That's what we have here in our line of code, front end. So this front end is a JavaScript application, right? And then we have our back end that is a Spring Boot application, it's a Java application. So nobody knows what goes on in the back end because the end users can't see what's going on in the back end of an application. You can only see what you can interact with. You can only see the user interface that you can interact with. If you log in into your OP application, the backend engineers or the logs and the visibility we want to view now will tell us that okay, Adedamola logs in into this application. He's trying to make payment for so item that he wants to get in the place. or is trying to make payment for a transaction he bought from ShopRite. So nobody sees your backend application. You only see the user interface. You only see your front end. I don't know if that clarifies that. Yeah. Okay.
So we have a couple more questions. Do we want to take them now or we'll take them later?
Yeah, yes, yes, you can take them.
Okay. Okay, Rowan, here's the session recorded, and the recording will be shared with you after the session. Malachi says, please explain this again. I understand that Node Expector extract the metrics to send to Prometheus. What extracts the logs and traces?
So what attracts the logs and traces are prompted and low key. Then for traces, it is output elementary and tempo. So output elementary, what it does is just to is a standard observability framework. This is like the official website of Open Elementary. Yeah. Yeah. So this is the official website of OpenTelemetry. So OpenTelemetry is like a collection of API, SDKs, and tools. It's used to instrument, generate, collect, and export telemetry data like metrics, logs, and traces to help you analyze your software performance and behavior, basically. So what this OpenTelemetry draws in this example we want to try out is to collect metrics, logs, and traces and ship it to Tempo. So Tempo is like an observability stack for Grafana that I just shared right now. Sorry, I just googled right now. Tempo Grafana. So this is Tempo. What it does is just to it's like a Tracy backend that stores and query traces data to track requests across multiple services. You can see it is being integrated with OpenTelemetry, Zipkin, Jega, different tracing tools. So this is Grafana. Grafana is what we use to visualize our Tempo, Prompte, Node Exporter, um, C Advisor, Prometheus. So in my line of code, I have we have data source. So what data source does is for us to is for me to be able to come here. This is my Prometheus running as a service, right? And these are my services that I have that I'm trying to monitor for my applications. So if you come to this observability here, this is my prometheus.yml file. I have I'm telling Prometheus to scrape metrics from Prometheus itself, also scrape metrics from my backend application, script metrics from Node Exporter and C Advisor. So basically, C Advisor is like a container monitoring tools that collect resources usage and performance metrics from individual Docker containers. So if you have like a high CPU, maybe there's a high CPU on your container, C Advisor is going to let you know once you have visibility into your dashboard. That's just basically the job that that C advisor is doing. So from this line of code that I showed to you here, that's what we are currently targeting here. We are checking the health. If a container goes down, so for instance now, let me shut down maybe C advisor. Let me just stop it. Can I take this down? Okay, yes. So I want to stop one of all these containers that are running. Stop. Stop. Yes, yeah, so I'll just take the container ID. I've stopped C advisor. You can see from here that it's down. So in an organization where you have alerting, you will have an alerting that is being sent to either your Teams, WhatsApp, your email that this container is down, something is wrong. Go in and check what is wrong. So that's basically what Prometheus does, script metrics. You can see immediately we stopped this container, it went down here. So that's just like a simple usage of what Prometheus does. If I should spin it back up, it's coming up, I guess. Okay, it's back up. You can see it's back up. So even when this comes back up, if you have like an alerting system, it's going to let you know that this service or this container is back up. Yeah. So in Grafana, what you have to do is to create a data source first for each services for Prometheus, Loki, and Tracy for you to be able to visualize them. So this is what I've done. I've taken the URL for Prometheus. This is the URL what we have here, and then I come here to just to save. The reason why I'm not doing this manually because in DevOps you don't have to do it manually. You can. The main aim of DevOps is automation. I've written the line of code over here in my Grafana data source for you to provision my data source for me. For you to provision Prometheus, Loki and Tempo automatically for me instead of me going in manually to do all of that. That's not DevOps because DevOps goal is automation for you to just run a single command and everything is up, voila, no stress. Only when you want to troubleshoot what went wrong. So this is Prometheus. You save and test. If something is wrong, it's not going to when you query it, it's not going to be successful. It's just going to be basic. So same as Loki also. I have that for Loki too as a data source. Do the same thing and yeah, same for Tempo. But the main reason why these are easier because they are observability stack that comes with Grafana, so it makes it easy. If you want to set up alerting, also Grafana also has alerting. If you want to set up alerting, you can just come here and you set up different alerting that you want to alert. They also have alerting if you want to send alert to your Teams, Zoom, email, whichever one you have you come here and set it. So that makes it sweet when you have everything compressed in one tool. Yeah. So now that we have a dashboard and this latest new upgrade for Grafana. Okay, let me just go here. So for logs, for everyone asking about log, we have this is log. We have different container. We have different container because we have set up our data source for low key. That's what gives us these logs that we have here for Loki to ship audio logs, audio container. If you see from here, we have the Loki itself as a container. We have C Advisor here as a container. We have Tempo as a container. We have Grafana itself as a container. We have our backend application as a container, and then we also have Prompto. So for us to look at the logs, we can just click what happened. Then something is wrong with backend. Let's see. So I'm missing logs on my backend. Should see logs. Sure. Sure, it's not this. I think I should. Let me connect this out. Yeah, so can make use of this for the meantime. So yeah, this is log coming from Grafana itself. So this gives you like visibility to whatever you want to view from your logs. If you have errors or anything, you can come in and search from here. You can also spool from time phase or time zone from when an error happens. But where is it? Yeah, you can spool by time also if you want to see logs from the last 1 hour or from yesterday, from 24 hours. You can just come here and just look for 5 minutes if you know the issue is just 5 minutes. Anything happening in the application, you see the logs from here for each services. And then if you want it to be in JSON, it can also come out in JSON where you can visualize those logs and look at those errors basically. Yeah, let's go back to now. We now have logs for backend. Logs for backend, you can spool this and view the logs from it from here. If you have errors, if you have anything, you will see it from here. Refresh. You see it from here. Whatever process that you want to review everything from here for the logs from each containers. Yeah, it's something. Why is it not picking front? Let's look into that. Should now.
So we have another question. Malachi says, number four, Deborah says you are too low, that she can't hear you well. Then Malachi says, Prometheus gets the log set to Loki. Um, he also said Prometheus get the metrics. They are all visualized on Grafana. Is that correct?
So Prometheus, what Prometheus does is just to collect and store and query metrics data. They don't send logs to Loki. What Prometheus does is just to this is Prometheus here. Metrics give you visibility into your application. For instance, yeah, let me just do this. Grafana dash dashboard for Explorer. So what Prometheus does is just to what's the name? It's just to collect metrics from each containers that we have and give you visibility into it, your CPUs, your memory usage, anything you want to visualize, Prometheus will give it to you. Prometheus does not ship logs. The tool that ship logs is Loki and Prompteo. Those are the ones that work hand in hand. They are bread and butter. They are the ones that ship logs to prompt a script those logs and ship it to Loki. Then Loki ship it in a production environment or in an organization. We ship those logs to like an X3 bucket whereby you can save those logs. And in some organization, they make use of Kafka. They create a topic and ship those logs for maybe 7 days. They store those logs for 7 days. After 7 days, you won't be able to have access to those logs anymore. They won't store logs more than 7 days. So for you to be able to, instead of you going to your terminal and you run a simple command like docker compose log. I said docker compose, sorry. Docker log backend. Instead of you doing all of this manually, you can as well just go to your dashboard and you view your logs easy peasy. Instead of you using the terminal, you pick whichever application you want to pick. If it's your backend, you come into your backend and then you pick your logs, you spool it by the time you want to, by the time frame. If a request comes that okay, they have an issue whereby a bank complains that this application or this transaction failed by this so time, you ask for the time. If it's in the last 1 hour, you just pull by last 1 hour or last 30 minutes, and you come here to check your logs. So this part of Grafana's job, visibility, to make your life easy for you to come in quickly and then check your logs. For tracing, which is tempo. So what the tempo does is for it to tell you what's happening in your application, what and what went wrong. For now, you can see this is trying to get is calling an API showing you what's happening in the application that is running in your backend application. Yeah, so I wanted to give visibility. Yeah, so for you to create dashboards, Grafana also have like a pre-built dashboard that has been done by someone. All you need to do is just to search for whatever dashboard you want to visualize and then come here and take like the templates. So there are different dashboards, but the one I want now is Node Exporter. So I will just come here to my Grafana and come to dashboard here, create a new import a new dashboard. There's no need for me to create a new dashboard. I've taken an ID already. I'll import the new dashboard. Come here, I've taken the ID number, load it. Then when I load it, it's going to ask me for the data source. Which one do I want to use? I want to make use of Prometheus because Prometheus works with Node Exporter for metrics and the rest. Import it. So you can see that now I'm making use of Prometheus as my as my what's the name as my data source to give me visibility into these instances that that we have various applications. So if you want to see CPU being used, memories, and the rest, the cores that you have, the uptime, amount of time the application is being on or is up. If it's down, it will show here. This is like visibility of you seeing what's happening, the network, disk usage, your CPU. If your CPU is high, if it's maybe more than 80, you set up like an alerting that is going to alert you, that is going to query this Prometheus data and send you an alert if your CPU is high or your RAM is over 80%, to set you, it will send an alert to you. That's for this. But to have visibility into your um, Java application itself, I will also come here and search for Grafana Spring Boot. Yeah, I think I searched for it before. Yeah, Spring Boot application dashboard. So there are different dashboard that has been pre-configured already. There's no need for you to start writing your JSON file. You just pick whichever one that resonates with you. You do the same thing. You come to your, oh, I have it set up already. Let me delete this so I can delete. Dashboard, reports. Pick my data source for each for Loki also. Yes. So sorry, I didn't show you guys the application local host. So this is the application itself. Just a simple basic API application for the front end. This is it. So for visibility, this is what we have as visibility to the back end, whatever is happening in the back end. This is the request that we've made, the accurator, the payroll, and everything for a observer. The reason why it's a little bit scant is because it's just a basic application. It's not well grounded. The codes are not are just to perform just basic application, just for me to demonstrate monitoring. So your request, 200 requests, 500. If there are errors, maybe you have like a 401 error, a 500 error, you are going to have visibility into everything. So basically, there are different dashboards for you to Google and search and implement in your monitoring. Yes. I don't know if there's more questions. And just like I said, for metrics and for us to see what's happening in applications, if I've said it earlier, if your CPU is above 80 or there's like an HTTPS error, which we don't have right now in this application because it's just a basic and simple application, you will see it around this place. You can metrics are great for detection and alerting. If my CPU is above 80, 90, whatever alerting um, setup I'm setting up and I'm trying to configure is being set up, it's going to alert me either to my email or anything. So I can even go to Ojo Elegba Market, or I go to Tech4Dev headquarter and sit down while I have my developers at work. And then if there are issues, I'll get alerted on my phone or in my email or whatever platform I'm using. Then I'll know that, okay, yes, there's something wrong with either services or application that is happening. All I just need to do is just open my laptop from wherever I am and then go into that, because alerting is being set up in a way whereby it's going to tell you what is wrong. so you know what is wrong and you are going into that place to fix it. What logs does is just to tell you what exactly happened. If there is a login failure, log is going to show it to you. Anything that is happening in your backend, in your in your database or in your front end, the log is going to get it done. It's going to show you what exactly happened, what went wrong, why the event is going to tell you the story of the event of what happened, the time. As you can see the time frame here. You can see the date of what happened and when it happens. Why tracing is just to follow what's the name. It's just like a single request from microservices like the back end, front end. The reason why front end is not showing yet is because Open telemetry is not integrated into the front end. I just did that for backend alone because backend is the ones with the API. If there are delays or bottlenecks or dependencies that are having issues, we are going to get it from tracing. So all I just want you guys to do is just to think about metric as your health check and logs as your maybe a black box recorder where it records whatever that happens in your day-to-day activities. Maybe if I go to the hospital, if I just like your Apple wristwatch now, when you want to aim your 10-kilometer steps and while you are walking, you are not while you're walking around, you are not looking at your wristwatch all the time until you get home and then you look at okay, let me check how many steps I've taken. You go there and you see that you've taken over 10,000 steps. So it's just like a recorder that has recorded your steps. Why traces? We think about traces of just like a Google Map for requests where you see what's going on, what went wrong, and you'll be able to trace everything that happened. Yeah. So that's just it. And that's everything about observability. Grafana job is just to visualize everything for us to be able to see what we have going and then visibility of what we have inside the application. Thank you. Are there any
All
questions?
right. Thank you so much for that. Um, I could see the back and forth with the questions coming from the participants and your responses. And thank you so much for responding to all of their questions. So there is
Yes.
one last question here. Actually says the API request matrix, like number of API requests. What is sending is to Prometheus? Is it still the node exporter?
Sorry, come again with that question.
Yeah, what I got the question as well. Person said the API request metrics like number of API requests. What
Mhm.
is sending to Prometheus? It's supposed to be what is it sending to Prometheus? Is it still
So
the portal?
is it still no exporter? No, 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 no. It's not no exporter because for because you're seeing requests being sent here is a what's the name? Is a data source like this request you're seeing here on your dashboard is a dashboard that has been inbuilt and has been created by Grafana for you to be able to visualize and see almost everything in it and for us to see all those requests that has been done is coming from your backend and it's coming from open telemetry that we've installed into it. And the reason why we are able to see our request is just basically because we've taken the pre-built dashboard and we are making use of we are making use of Prometheus. Prometheus also script all those APIs requests and send those information to the pre-built dashboard that we have. So that's why we can see all of those requests here. I think I answered that question.
Okay, thank you so much. I think yes, you've answered it because the person that asked also says thank you.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much, Ajibola. That was a lovely one. And to everyone that joined us today, thank you so much. So just so you know, it's a 2-day masterclass and we'll have the second session tomorrow. And tomorrow is
Yeah.
basically talking about, so those of you that were saying you wanted CI/CD
CI/CD
pipeline.
and
So tomorrow we'll be having
infrastructure as code.
yes, so we'll be having automation as a superpower. Same time
Yeah.
tomorrow and same link. The session has also been recorded and the recording will be shared with everybody as soon as it is ready. Thank you so much,
Yeah.
Ajibola, and
Thank
it
you.
was lovely having you around with us today.
Same here too. So tomorrow we'll be deploying this application to the cloud, AWS to be precise, using GitHub Action and Terraform.
All right, thank you so much.
Welcome.
Yes, I had a couple of people during the session. I think they were lost. So the masterclass is usually for professionals, not for beginners, people that are already in the line of work. And this is for DevOps. The last one we had was for I think product management. Yes, that was the last one we had. But for this month, we are facing and having conversations around DevOps. I know it's a lot of coding and I was lost. I'm not even gonna lie. I was as well because then I don't know anything about coding. But to the DevOps professional in the house, I hope you were able to learn one or two, and I hope Ajibola was also able to answer all of your questions. Malachi says yes. I'm even sure he answered all of Malachi's questions because he or she kept asking questions and you're able to respond to all of them. Thank you so much for that.
Welcome.
Yeah, I think that'll be all for today. I'm just going to speak more on some of the programs we do at Tech4Dev and also answer some questions that we have on Tech4Dev. Yes, someone says, please, does it fellowship? Yes, for the fellowship, yes. We this cohort is the first time we're having DevOps. And yes, we have fellows that are already in class for DevOps, yes. But for the next cohort, we would also have DevOps, but the course application for next cohort is not out yet. But for the bootcamp, we don't have DevOps for bootcamp. I mentioned what we have earlier for bootcamp. For bootcamp, we have product management, product design, we have software development, cyber security, data analysis, and our new learning track, technical project management. Like I said earlier, you can check our social media. You can check us on LinkedIn and also on Instagram, and I think on Facebook as well. There you would get the link to register for the bootcamp. You can register and you can share to your community as well. The next cohort for the fellowship is going to be next year. I don't know the timeline yet because they are still in class, but definitely is going to be next year. And yes, the bootcamp and the fellowship is for women only. In fact, Women Textiles program is for women only. This masterclass used to be for women only. But we've had men reach out to us and say they also want to join our masterclass or some of our other programs, but we are able to accept them into our masterclass only. So every other program, you have to be a woman before you can apply for that. So yeah, I think that will be all. If you have any other question for me, please go ahead and ask me before we round up for today. Okay, so it looks like we don't have any question. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today. And to our facilitator as well, thank you for sharing your knowledge with us. We will continue tomorrow, same time, 4 p.m. West African time. And the same Zoom link you used to join today is the same link you used to join tomorrow. There is no attendance for the session. And as soon as the recording is ready, I would share the recording with you via email. Thank you so much for joining us and enjoy the rest of the weekend.
Bye.